Thanks for tuning in for Savy Learning How to Leave It. Savy was 4 months old in November and is a standard poodle. With any behavior, we first start small. Here, we teach Savy to just leave a closed hand alone. This is step 1. The click indicated to Savy that he did the behavior correctly. All he had to do was leave the hand alone. A click indicates correct behavior and is followed by a treat. Every single click is always followed by a treat. Step 2 is when Savy has to leave an open hand alone. If Savy goes after the open hand, the hand simply closes. The game does not end, the hand just closes. When Savy understands to leave an open hand alone, he earns another click and another treat.
Good boy.
The hand gradually moves closer and closer to the ground. Notice that we have not asked Savy to leave it once. We are not adding the cue to these behaviors until he understands that the game is all about leaving the food alone. When he starts understanding what the game entails, then we will name this behavior. Dogs don't speak English or any other language, so in order for us to introduce them to cues, they must first understand what the behavior is. The food has transferred to the ground. Now all Savy has to do is learn to leave the food alone and wait for the treat to come. We will soon be introducing him to eye contact, as what we would like to have happen is we want to say leave it, and we want the dog's attention to turn to us.
Nicely done.
Now we're asking Savy to give us eye contact. He has to ignore the food that's right in front of him and look at his handler for directions. As long as he ignores the food, he gets more treats. If he doesn't ignore the food, the game is over.
Leave it.
Building a solid behavior is important before adding a cue. As dogs learn in patterns, what we want to have happen is we want to give the dog the cue, we want to see the appropriate behavior, we want to mark that behavior, and then reward it. Adding the cue too early before you have a solid behavior that follows creates what we call a muddied cue. Sometimes the dog does what you want him to do, sometimes he doesn't. Once the dog understands what that cue means, in this case, it means pay attention to me, then we could start proofing that cue. Proofing the cue means that we are adding distance, distraction, and duration. This happens with every single cue, every single behavior that we teach a dog. In order for the behavior to transfer to the real world, the dog needs to understand the pattern and what the behavior entails. When we work on distance, it's important for the dog to understand that leave it means pay attention to me, regardless of where I am, even if the dog is closer to the distraction.
Nicely done.
Duration means that after I tell you to leave it, it means leave it for 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, a half an hour. It means that even if you move away from it and come back to it, you still have to leave that item.
Good dog. Good boy.
Leave it. Nice. Distraction means a moving item or multiple of the same item or multiple of different items.
Nice. Good.
The more distractions there are, the harder it is for the dog to perform any behavior.
Good dog. Leave it. Leave it. Nice. Good boy. Sit.
Once the dog has learned distance, distraction, and duration separately, now it's time to start combining the three together. This is the difficulty stage.
Good dog.
Be sure to gradually increase difficulty. When increasing distance, decrease distraction and duration. When increasing distraction, decrease distance and duration. And when increasing duration, decrease distance and distraction. If the dog starts failing, or if you start getting frustrated, something is going wrong. The behavior is probably too difficult for the dog to perform. Remember to set the dog up for success, take a step back, and start again.
Way to go, bud. Way to go. You're amazing.
Next, you'll need to reinforce these behaviors throughout the dog's life in multiple situations and environments. Never give up, never stop training. Thanks for watching.